No Slapping Up is a podcast hosted by Youth Against Gender-Based Violence, a program sponsored by ORG Education. This podcast is a platform where we'll highlight, discuss, and enlighten youth and the wider public on issues related to gender-based violence. Another father lost his life the other day. Black man, wake up and find your way. Tell me, why we killing one another? Don't you recognize that it's your brother? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of No Slapping Up. I'm Rashade, and I'll be hosting today's episode. This episode's topic is how we contribute to gender-based violence socially and culturally. I'd like to introduce my co-hosts, Philip, Alexandria, Sabrina, and Sarah. Okay, so let's begin with an excerpt from Asian Pacific Institute on Gender-Based Violence. Cultural identities contain the histories of a people that include traditions, struggles, achievements, and triumphs. Cultures nourish pride, resilience, belonging, intersectional identities, and a connection to community. The culture is used to justify gender-based violence and inequality by invoking traditional beliefs and practices about how women and girls should be treated. If culture defines the spaces within which power is expressed and gender roles are enshrined, then our movement is here to push back. After all, some traditions and explanations do have an expiration date, and cultural DNA, just like individual DNA, changes with every generation. Question for the panelists. What are some Bahamian traditions that contribute to gender-based violence?
I think in a lot of instances, we have very strict and very rigid gender roles and gender norms. And so it is not uncommon to hear, different things that have made their way into society because of that. So, for example, when a boy does something that isn't considered particularly masculine, it's common to hear someone say, "Oh, I know big man after," or something like that. Or if a girl does something that is traditionally considered more feminine, then it wouldn't be uncommon for someone to try and steer them away, or to say "Oh, well, you ain't going to be nobody's wife, doing that stuff and all of that stuff." So I think that's very big. And I think what that does is it kind of boxes people in, especially if it's something that they're inclined to do, just because it's a part of their personality. And when we try to steer them into that behavior, I think the mixture of that creates a very volatile situation.
So like Philip said, with the boxing in, it's confusion built up inside, because now society is telling me that I'm one way because I have more of a masculine tendency, and I'm a girl, I'm less of a female, and I don't deserve to be treated as such.
Right, I agree too, because even, just for me, some people would tell me, because I'm more of a person who like to wear pants. And traditionally back in the day, women are looked at to wear dresses and skirts. And so even just wearing jeans or tennis in the front of an older person, they'll be like, "No, why are you not wearing a skirt or a dress?" But the culture is changing as we get older.
But even if you do look like the typical girl or whatever, you do still get stereotypical feedback to say you are a girly girl and you wear dresses and stuff and to be cute, then that could be turned back on you. They say, "Oh, you're too womanish, you're looking for man." And that don't always be the case. White people just can't just dress the way they want without getting negative feedback. You could never just get full positive feedback without hearing something bad. You dress manly, you won't be a boy. You dress girly, you looking for man. You just can't
You can't win.
We're always objectified.
Okay, I'm smiling because I wanted somebody to bring that up. You know the saying, you can never please Bahamians. You could never please Bahamians. Whatever you do, somebody got to say something about that. And that is one of the things in our society that is a really good, not a really good, it's a problem. Thank you, Sabrina, for bringing that point up. You can never please Bahamian. I'm a girl. I wear dresses all the time. Why you always wearing dresses? You too womanish. Why are you doing this? If you are a girl and you're wearing pants, why you a tomboy or something? You gay? Are you?
Be me.
Exactly. You can't be yourself.
You can never please Bahamians, and that leads me into our next question. In the passage at the end, it says, "Cultural DNA, like individual DNA, changes with every generation." What are some of the changes that you're seeing in the younger generation in the Bahamas? Like, are we removing those rigid traditions of our gender roles?
With the advent of social media, I feel as though it is like we are experiencing traditional roles being pushed. We're moving further away from that because we are being exposed to more things outside of our little country, our islands. So yeah, we are looking at the Instagram, TikTok, the models. We want to be like this and emulate certain things. So yeah, we are removing past being, with the pronouns and everything, we're moving past certain things.
That's a pretty good point you made about social media, because even with my little cousin, who's only a few years younger than I am, there are things that I notice in her generation in terms of being more respectful, or at least more knowledgeable and observant of things like, like gender differences, different sexual orientations and all of that stuff, and different ways that people present. It's not a big shock like how it is to many older BAMEs, like, someone who doesn't look a particular way or the traditional way we expect them to look. It's very common that the older people would give them like, a harsh look, or, a confused look. And, they'll probably say something, negative towards them. But even with my little cousin, there is definitely a sensitization that happens because of social media. And I noticed that even with like the TikToks and the different influencers that she subscribes to and that she listens to, there's a very big variation. And I think all of that plays into a more progressive sort of idea when it comes to things like gender acceptance, gender differences, and all of that stuff.
A lot of people have like said that, older people would say that it's bad because we're moving away from tradition, but we are becoming more accepting of people and their differences. I want to know what y'all think on that.
Well, okay, just to answer that specific thing, what I think people really need to understand is that everything is not as black and white. I think in Bahamian society, it's very black and white, and I don't think people realize that there's a whole like gradient, and there's some gray areas and some, some not so black and white things. And I think what people don't understand is that if you are a person, if personally you are more traditional, so to speak, you can still have your traditional views, and well, being traditional means that you probably aren't accepting of other people's views. So that kind of negates what I was going to say. But I was going to say that that doesn't mean that everyone else can't have a different opinion. And so if you and your family, for example, it's just going back to the whole gender roles thing that I started with. If you are a person that you think you should cook and whatever like that, then you cook then. If someone else doesn't feel like they should cook because they're a woman or because they're somebody's wife, then that's their business, and that's for them to figure out. You stay in your household, and you like to tell people what to do in your house, then you stay in yours and let other people do as they please.
Exactly. That is what it's going to bring up. A lot of people use traditions and gender rules, or woman's supposed to be in the house, man's supposed to be to work, to try and dictate other people's lives when they aren't in other people's lives. So how can you tell this person what they should and shouldn't do when everybody is their own person and everybody doesn't share the same household? So why are you trying to push your beliefs on me when I have my own, And that's something that runs within the Bahamas. Like I say, you can't please Bahamians, and everybody always in everybody's business. So that's really how it is.
Yeah, I agree. And people are so judgmental about that. And having like the woman doing everything, like you said, with different gender roles, they shouldn't just put everything on a woman, like cooking and cleaning. Like if the man wants to do it, then the man should be able to do it. That's not their business. So.
Exactly.
And that's what I think leads us into like generational depression, because what if I don't fit into that generational box where you feel as though I should be cooking and cleaning? What if I want to run outside and play sports? What if I want to do a man's job? What if I want to be a mechanic? So that's where I feel as though we feel pressure to like follow into their footsteps to make them proud, but we still know that that's not what we want.
Yes, I understand completely. There isn't, even though there are people doing it now, people our age, younger, even a little bit older, who are comfortable within themselves and know what they want to do and are doing it. It's not as widespread as we think it is. Like, we know one or two people who actually are themselves, and they would not conform to like, oh, I could just go finish high school, finish my diploma, get a certificate in sewing and construction or something, so I could work the home fabrics and then sit home, get a husband, get a child, have a child. But people who want to go into engineering and they actually avidly go on to it, or for example, going into engineering and knowing that she has people in her family and around her in society telling her, like, you're a woman, what you want to do engineering for? How you could even do that? That don't even make sense for you to do. And people are moving away from that now.
No time to get caught up in your feelings, man. I'm sick of time to see all the bloodshed. Another father lost his life the other day. Black man, wake up and find your way. Tell me, why we killing one another? Don't you recognize that it's your brother? The system got so many stuck on stupid. Offend, and everybody wants to shoot. Think first before you pull the trigger, man. You know how many I was supposed to kill? But let it go like water running off a hill. There's a bigger plan for my life. I cannot do it locked up or in the grave. No longer to the system will I be a slave. Like a bear, it's time to come out the cave. Big brother, leave you stuck and amazed. Only if you have the mind of a slave. Caught up in the glitz and the glamour. While young brothers on the street pulling stunts, TNT drama. We gotta take the blocks back. Yes, we gotta take the blocks back. Yes, we gotta take the blocks back. No more rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat. Because life, you can't give it back. Yes, we gotta take the blocks back. Yes, we gotta take the blocks back. No more rat-a-tat-tat-tat.